Hey everyone, this is Brian with Oceanside Glass and Tile, and this is a quick video to roll you through the layout and installation of Mosaic gradient blends. So if you don't already know, Oceanside Glass and Tile offers gradient blends, which are Mosaic blends that change in color from one side to the other. So imagine a wall where you have Mosaic tile going from floor to ceiling, and the bottom of the wall is darker and it slowly gradates and fades to a lighter color at the top. This is available in a myriad of different color options. If you don't already know, go check out our other video on gradient blends, show the gradient blend tool, how to place the order. But this video is really about what to do when you receive a gradient blend, how to lay it out, and how to install it. So right now we're gonna get into these boxes and show you what it looks like when you receive it on the job site. So first thing you wanna look for is this handy dandy little instructions enclosed sticker. That's gonna let you know that your layout instructions are in this box. And this is the one you want to open first because it's going to be your guide to everything you're looking at. So when you receive it, you open it up. On this instructions enclosed box, you should have one of these. This is your layout guide. This is the document that's going to rule how all of this gets laid out. Each sheet is labeled individually, and that label corresponds to a number on this sheet. And if you look at this sheet, you'll see that row number 1 has an arrow, points to row number 2, has an arrow, which points to row number 3. That's the really critical part of this layout. Now you'll also notice we do show this going vertically, so the colors are changing from bottom to top, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it's going to get installed on the job site. We'll get into more of that in a bit. But right now we're really worried about that what we received is what we ordered and that everything looks good coming out of the boxes. So then we're going to do that now. We're going to loft this, turn it upside down, and check it all out. All right, so I've taken everything out of the boxes here and I just got them in piles, and we're gonna go ahead and start laying them out. Now I should mention, or as I mentioned before, these are paper-faced mosaics, which means the paper is on the front of the tile. If you haven't seen or not familiar with paper-faced mosaics, go check out our installation video on paper-face. But this is the front of the tile, this is the back of the tile. So we're gonna lay this right now just with the sheet up, with the label up so we can see it, and make sure we have these all going in the right direction. As I mentioned before, per the diagram, row number 1 points to row number 2, points to row number 3, so on and so forth. So now, I'm gonna flip these over, and we're gonna double check that everything looks right. I'll just flip this one row over first so you can see. This is our color gradation, and this is with the sheets in the right orientation. We know all the arrows are pointing in the right direction. And again, this is the back of the tile. This is not exactly the way the tile is going to look when it's finished being installed, but we can see the color gradation. We can see the transitions. We can see the dark tiles at this end, goes to the gray, goes to a lighter gray, and then into the white, an almost solid white at the end. If there were a bad transition in here, or let's say I had put one of these sheets down in backwards, even though this doesn't look exactly the way it's going to get installed, you can still see that. This dark gray shouldn't be here. It should be back on this end of the sheet. Oh, I got the arrow in the wrong direction. All right, I can fix that. Perfect. So I'll flip these over, finish checking it out, and we'll go from there. All right, so we have it completely lofted. We have it flipped over so we can check it out and see the back of the gradient. Now, I know it's not 100% feasible on a big job. You have an 80-foot long wall. You're not gonna have a spot where you can lay that all out on the ground and check it all at the same time. What we do in that situation is we'll have a reference sheet that we're checking against. We'll have a row, and then we lay it down next to it. We may now lay down a row or two, check that out, pick it up, go on to the next ones. You can still check it, you just don't check it all at the same time. So, all right. Now, that being said, now we're gonna talk a little bit about layout on the job site. So this sheet, as I mentioned before, does show the gradient going from the bottom of the sheet to the top of the sheet. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it's gonna get installed. The designer could have intended for it to go from side to side, just way we always put it on the sheet the same way. There's no way to indicate that. So you need to double check with the homeowner, with the designer, whoever it is who's spec'd the material, make sure it's oriented the right way in your installation. As long as you have row 1 pointing to row 2, pointing to row 3, the colors will gradate properly, but it's just a question. Do you want the gradation to go horizontal? Do you want to go vertical? Do you want the dark at the top, dark at the bottom? All of those things, clarify, make sure you have that ahead of time. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about is centering the layout. We automatically generate some overage when we're doing gradients because you don't want to be short on a custom project like this. But if you spec out a dimension, we're going to go to the next whole sheet larger than that with our color gradation. With a normal mosaic, if I start with a full sheet at the floor, go up to the ceiling, and I end up cutting off 3/4 or half of that sheet, no problem, doesn't make a difference. But with a gradient, it's going to change the way your colors are balanced. So if I put all my waste at the top of the gradient, I'm going to lose most of this white. Whereas if I kind of do more of a center out layout, I do a little waste at the floor, a little waste at the ceiling, I'm going to keep my color gradation balanced from side to side. And again, there's not a right or a wrong way, it's subjective. You want to make sure your designer or homeowner has given you the clearance, but the general rule is to do a more center out balanced layout. You have equal waste on both sides of the gradient. So, all right, we've got this lofted up. It looks pretty good. I'm going to throw it in real quick so you can see what it looks like. All right, guys, well, there you have it. I think as you can see, once you understand gradients, they're really not that difficult and are actually pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. We'll get to as many of those as we can. And if there's other how-to videos you'd like to see for Oceanside Glass and Tile products, let us know that as well. We'll see what we can do. Thanks for watching.